anytime you get an honor that can go a long ways, you always get more opportunities. So, but it's not about me, even though it can benefit me, but it can benefit the sport of wrestling. It can benefit a lot of youth. It can benefit a lot of people that just need a little bit of a mentor. And so, you know, it's got to be more than just this day. And the governor said he's going to work on that. He's going to try to get it every year on this day. And if that happens, then my vision is going to be fulfilled from an impact for this time of the year. And instead of being just Dan Gable Day, it's more like Start a Wrestling.
Whereas Dan Gable has a long, storied history in the wrestling world that includes 3 high school championships, 2 NCAA wrestling championships, and the Olympic gold medal. And whereas in 21 years of coaching, Dan Gable led the University of Iowa to 15 NCAA team championships and 21 consecutive Big Ten championships. And whereas Dan Gable's leadership, competitiveness, and coaching skills created future generations of wrestlers, many of whom have gone on to national and world wrestling prominence. And whereas Dan Gable is an ambassador for the sport of wrestling, and whereas the National Wrestling Hall of Fame in Waterloo, Iowa, is named after Dan Gable, and whereas even though he no longer sits in the corner as a coach, Dan Gable still has a significant impact on the world of wrestling. And whereas for more than 30 years, Dan Gable changed the landscape of high school and college wrestling worlds. Now, therefore, I, Terry E. Branstad, Governor of the State of Iowa, do hereby proclaim this day, October 25th, 2012, as Dan Gable Day.
I think it's very appropriate given what he represents to the sport of wrestling, what he's done in his life as a wrestler and as a coach. I mean, how can we not preserve those kinds of legends and to inspire our future generations with? I mean, if we lose, if we don't do things like that, and thank goodness the governor's stepping up and doing what he's doing today, then we really, what else is more important to pass on to our future generations?
I mean, you have a wrestler with that kind of iconic status, and he's impacting generations. I mean, he's impacting young kids that are learning to wrestle, little 5-year-olds, because the name Gable is synonymous with wrestling. That's positive because with Gable it goes beyond wrestling, but it's still wrestling. So there's a lot to gain from that, I think.
This is a no-brainer, without question. All that he's done as a wrestler, as a coach, and then for the sport of wrestling throughout the country, it's phenomenal. And
he drove you, didn't he? I mean, he drove you to excellence.
Yes, he found out what buttons to push, what would motivate you, and then and it was helpful. It wasn't anything negative to irk you or upset you, but he challenged you, and that challenge you needed, and he knew that, and you knew that in the long run. So when it was all said and done, you didn't look back with any regrets.
I think it's great for wrestling. You know, the governor was here, making not only this Dan Gable Day today, which is his birthday, but making this Dan Gable Day in perpetuity. So I think it's a phenomenal thing for the sport of wrestling because it's really beyond the walls. It's a global sport, and that resonates to wrestlers all around the world.
All right, our final speaker is someone who has a Mountain Dew to the side. You can't see it, but I think he's ready to go. Please welcome the day named after him, Dan Gable.
I've been trying to figure this out for quite a while, ever since I heard about it. And I just couldn't understand it because I really didn't want a birthday party. You know, I mean, I have those, you know, every year. I've had 64 of them. One family, then now another family, and so the birthday party isn't quite it for me. I got, my goals and visions, they're beyond a birthday party. And Governor, now we're talking. Now we're talking. One day, 2012, yeah, that's fine. But we need emphasis. We need a special day that
people around the world, especially in the state of Iowa, but when you talk today, it's not just about what's taking place in this little room in Waterloo, Iowa, because nothing stays in a little room in Waterloo, Iowa anymore. It goes worldwide. And, I'm just proud to be able to accept an award that will give most people a chance to have a mentor or to look up to something, and that certainly is what people strive for. And right now, when I've heard Governor Branstad talk about Norman Borlaug and that he's in Washington, D.C., and that he's going to be represented there by the, from the state of Iowa, but worldwide, it's like me. My vision just went higher than it has been. It just went higher.